Muuntautuja is the sixth full-length album from Finnish black metal band Oranssi Pazuzu. At this point, I'm not sure if we should describe them as a black metal band, but rather a psychedelic progressive metal band, maybe not even a metal band. They're kind of working their own way into the avant-garde metal space with each record. And I think most people know this band probably from the 2010s via their psychedelic black metal phase, which incorporated space rock and progressive rock into their sound, with records like Monument and whatnot. For me, that second record really was the one that sold me on the band. I've been a huge fan of them since. This is one of my favorite general groups from the Finnish black metal sphere to arise in the last 10 or so years. And this has just kind of been a favorite of mine where I try to check out every related release and love the sort of breadth of the bands that this band and their membership covers, because a lot of them hit upon things that are interesting to me, whether it's noise rock, psychedelic rock, avant-garde rock and metal, as well as some post-metal and whatnot, more experimental music across the board, and a lot of those elements feed right back into Oranssi Pazuzu's sound. It would be nice if I could say that this record is an echo chamber of all the good things about Mistar and Kinsey, but in fact, these are almost intentionally crafted as exaggerations that go completely into the void beyond those last pieces. Essentially, what they've said is that a lot of these songs were built around jams that resulted from exaggerating their live performances of songs from Mistar and Kinsey. And what that leads us to is something that is completely outside the realm of expectation, while also fitting the sound of the band thanks to what kind of roots them in place, which is their rhythm section and their vocalist. Rather than trying to exactly define who they are, I think to know this band is to listen to them. It's definitely one of those types where it's avant-garde enough to where I can pack at least some interest into a 15-second clip to give you an idea of the way that this record explodes in your face as soon as it gets started. So if you paid attention to Svart Records' release schedule and you noticed that Haunted Plasma released, and it's from some of the main membership of Oranssi Pazuzu, you'd know to expect at least some of that dissonant, aggressive metal feeling that is highly experimental in terms of including elements of electronic and psychedelic and progressive music. Now, how all of these things fit together really comes from experiencing the electro-industrial pump of this record. There's a feeling that it has that is both blackened in its atmosphere, completely dark. I describe this record as oily or bleak in the black void of space many times on this review, because does feel like this is the dark as possible thing to come from this band, which still incorporates elements of space rock, and it has those bumping bass lines and frantic drum breaks and whatnot to keep it hypnotic, to keep it exaggerative. The thing that they do to make it even more bleak and to send it over the edge on this record is harsh noise. And I say harsh noise to emphasize that it's not just noise. This is dread-filled, aggressive use of noise, both guitar noise and synth, but also just straight-up noise that people will enjoy if you're into that kind of experimentation. On the last record, a lot of this experimentation took place in other ways, but it was still structured. It was structured in a way that is what I would consider rock oriented, where there are defined pieces and repeatable parts of each song that cue the listener in as to what's going on. And the songs on this record are more like soundscapes. They're often very brutal. They're hypnotic. There's two sides to this record with a couple of different transgressions happening within each side, where one song will be a very harsh, blackened, aggressive, guitar-driven song with a big bass line and a lot of pace to its attack. The next one will be more of a jam. It'll be more of a slow-moving, atmospheric piece driven by one big bass line that feeds us into the delirium down the way. And they sort of alternate between those things and intensify towards the end. But there are certain songs in here that push the noise to a level where even I was like, I don't know that I can return to this album as often. I think Velotus is really where they just explode into noise towards the end of the song and continue to intensify its dissonant read to the point where I wasn't sure if I was going to review this record at all, because it felt like it was one step out of that sort of line of taste where they exist and have always existed. But eventually I appreciated there's this progressive jazzy feeling to some of these parts that just doesn't find a comfortable spot, and that discomfort and the harassment of this record and how dark it was is appreciably more expressive than some of their other recordings. But it does feel like it is cumulative while also brand new. It does feel like a kind of a messy vault off of Mistar and Kinsey and into something that is exciting in a different way. So if you have the fortitude to sit through that and enjoy it and be challenged by it and find value in all of the nuance that you can find in repeating your time with this record, I think you'll be rewarded. If you're a fan of black metal, you'll probably understand how something that's so caustic can appreciate in value over time. But you'll have to be fairly open-minded to enjoy this record from my point of view, because it is so carbonized. It's burnt from within. It's bleak and hypnotic at the same time. So for me, if you're looking for something that is psychedelic black metal with avant-garde in its name, that is essentially what you get here. And I think that they really meet their old mission statement and find something new to do with it here in an impressive way that is above and beyond most else that I've heard this year. They do get a very high recommendation from me. I think they could have pushed it further with different parts of the theme. I think they could have been more selective with different tracks and just moved in directions that were maybe a little bit more memorable or just punctuative in terms of just making each side count. But those are small things, and it is what it is, really, and this record is going to be a challenge for most people. So I like that about it. I like that they're evolving in just incredibly strange ways, and that this wasn't an expected record. So that counts for a lot with me. See how it counts with you. Check it out yourself when it releases on October 11th. And go ahead and read my review for more of my thoughts in depth on this pretty substantial record.